Hi guys, Northwoods Stitcher here. My name's Sarah if you just found me. I've got some updates for you on some of the things that I've been stitching on. I've had a kind of lazy week though, I have to admit. I haven't been keeping to my schedule per se. Poor puppy has a urinary tract infection and I know how she feels. She's just miserable. She does a lot of laying on top of me while I can't really do anything with a 65-pound dog on me. And she just sits there and goes, ooh, ooh. So I cuddle her a lot and she's on massive antibiotics. But I wanted to catch you up on some of the progress I've been making and some of the things that I found in the craft room that I have to have started very soon. You may remember I was talking about doing another waste canvas project on a sweatshirt. I did start it and I'm not happy with it. I picked a purple sweatshirt and I did pick, I think it was, yeah, the left arm. And I ended up with a very small paw print design. It's too small. Number one, you can barely see it in the camera here. I think at a distance on my arm, it's just not going to be big enough. So I am going to pull this out and then I'm going to put a bigger paw print pattern that I have found and start over again to start going up the arm in random areas. So a start, but not a happy one. So I will pull that out. A lot of you have commented on using waste canvas back in the day. I think it's great to have a new project like this because I did a snowflake one earlier in the last year. So I should get that out and show it to you. But this paw print design is something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I wanted a muted color so it will just be a suggestive print. But when you use waste canvas, you are supposed to dampen the waste canvas after you have the waste canvas on your project and you stitch your design. Dampen the waste canvas before pulling it out. I haven't found that very helpful. I don't have any success doing that. I find if I don't have too much tension in my stitches and I leave them more relaxed, I can just pull out that waste canvas dry. I haven't had a problem yet. So that's my method right now, and it's working so far. Let me put that in the corner, that'll go back down. I did finish. I was working on some finishing of my father's cross stitch. This was a dimensions kit that he started called In the Moment. And it just needed some back stitching. It takes a lot of emotional energy to stitch these unfinished projects of my father's, but I did get to the point where I was ready to do this. I put it on a scroll and I have finished it. It turns out there was some backstitch missing in this cell. There was backstitch missing in this cell completely. I had to do all the backstitching in here. I think there were 5 different backstitch colors. I was able to match up the colors that I needed because if you remember, I lost the floss. It's probably somewhere up here in a box. But when I did dismantle this from his house to bring it home, I could have sworn I had it all, but I must have lost it. I went to cyberstitchers.com and put in that this was a dimensions kit, the code that they had, because I do have the graph, and from their code I was able to find out what DMC color was going to be the equivalent to their dimensions code. So I was really happy with the outcome. I have ironed it. I do see a crease at the top. Now he had it on a scroll frame for many years. In the bottom corner, I thought it would be great to put his initials, the last year that he stitched it, my initials, and the year that I finished it. So now it's going to sit until I start my framing exercise. I don't know what to call this. It's going to be a massive undertaking, but I have squirreled away frames in both of these eaves. You see how my wall slants here? I have 2 little doors on either side of the walls here. Little cubbies. You open up the door. It's not really tall enough to stand under there, but I've squirreled away all these frames in there. Now I want to pull them all out, literally all of them, put them in some massive plastic storage buckets in the center of the room. To the left of me is a pile of finished cross stitch, and I want to start pairing some things up. Not that I'm going to have a massive framing day, but if I could pair up 6 of my projects to 6 frames, I'd be super happy. So I really don't want this sitting in a pile for another year. We'll see how well that goes. That's the plan. I almost knocked my water over. Let me go put this down. In my travels around downstairs and reorganizing my living room, I don't have my coffee table anymore. I found some projects that were either buried in piles that were headed downstairs or were in the pile existing on the coffee table. And I also found some coasters that my dad had made. They aren't signed and they're kind of falling apart. Many of you might remember these little acrylic coaster shapes that you could get, and it gives you a little piece of cork board for the back. It's separated. I'm not quite sure what to do yet. I didn't know if any of you have used a type of glue or adhesive. These are really dirty. I gotta clean them up. I only have 2 of these. I thought I had 4 that he made me. I do remember years ago, one of our puppies, it was our hound, ate one. So I don't have 1. So I don't know if I had a set of 3 or a set of 4. But I'd like to restore these, and I'm not quite sure how to go about doing that. I need to find out a new way to get them to stick together so they don't fall apart anymore. If you guys have any great ideas, I'd appreciate it in the comments. But I haven't used these acrylic coaster forms in years. And I have to say, back in the day, I didn't have fun using them when they were popular. I could never get them to adhere for very long. So that's going to have to be up here in a corner waiting for some help. One of the things I found in the pile downstairs was a chart by Works by ABC, and it's called Exquisite Lace. So I have brought this back upstairs because I do want to find a nice fabric for it. And I really think that's an incredible design. I'm not partial to pastel-y colors, so a light blue or a light pink or a lemon isn't going to cut it for me. I'm probably going to look for maybe a green, a Wedgwood green, possibly a more earth tone blue, but not too bold. But I do want to do it in white, and I want that contrast there. This, I think, is done on a gray. I don't think they tell you. Oh yeah, they do tell you. It's done on a 36 count magical gray from Zweigart using 1 strand of Floss. I'm gonna stick with my DMC B5200. So I'm going to look for some other type of fabric because I think the gray is dramatic, but not quite my style. I know I need a color. So that's in the wings now. And for whatever reason, I found a very nice piece of small cut 28 ivory Joblin downstairs. So that needs to be rehomed up here. It might be good for my bunny trio, the Bloomin' Bunnies trio that I showed you guys. That's still in the wings waiting to be kitted up fully because I haven't done any floss tosses with this fabric yet. What else? Oh, and I did purchase, thanks to you guys, everybody came back and told me where I should look. I did show you this that I got on a Hirschner sale. This is a Thea Governor, and this is the Honeybee. I have the Bumblebee coming in the mail. I have no business getting more charts or kits, but I'm really excited because I've been after this one for years, that and the Bumblebee. But the kit prices were just a bit too much for me. I got this one, I think, for 21 or 22, and then there was a special deal with like 33 cents shipping if your order cost a certain much or amounted to a certain much. No problem. I did that with a few pieces of fabric. So now that the bumblebee's coming, once I have them both in my hot little hands, I'll decide if I'm going to stitch them side by side. But my husband's thinking a double mat, 2 separate ones, so I can stagger them on a wall somewhere. I'm really excited about it. This is definitely going to be a summer stitch. I don't like stitching black in the winter. I find it very taxing on my eyes. And I do have a light board. I should show you that sometime. That might be up here, but it might be downstairs. So stay tuned for that. You can get a light board. Sometimes just a white sheet over your lap does help, but the light board is thin and lightweight, and it's a plug-in, might be a USB chargeable, and it has a nice glow, so you can put it on your lap and have a nice light, gentle light underneath where you're stitching. So there's a gentle light showing through the holes, which does help quite a bit, because I think this one's done on 18 count. If I remember, it's an 18 count, so it's going to be a little tricky to see. Summer or whenever, it'll be tricky. I also uncovered, I have threads around here that I need to put away. A Rosewood Manor that I have to kit up. When am I going to kit all this stuff up? I'm gonna. Rosewood Manor Reindeer Dreams. To dance with the moon, you need only become friendly with the dreams of a reindeer. Isn't that great? And look at the reindeer all around the border. This is wonderful because I have the option to play with maybe some metallics. I can see some silver thread accents in here. If I didn't want to do the silver accents, I could really put in some beads or beads with the silver. So there's lots of possibilities. I think this would be a lovely pillow, lovely frame piece. I just can't wait to get this one started. It calls for, there's only 6 floss colors. Yep, 6 floss colors. It does have beads in it. I don't see where though. Beads shown as red dots. Where? Maybe it's a smaller sampler piece. No, they do show the beads. There are silver beads in here. And I don't know what kind. So I'll have to do some research on this. It might be a Mill Hill bead, but at a quick glance, I don't see it. This chart's from 2020, so I don't know where it's been hiding, but I'm glad it popped its head out again. I also need to find the cedar wax wings. I think I showed it to you recently. I've since put it down and it's disappeared in this pile. While at a stitch group this past Sunday, I picked up some threads for the cedar wax wings because I saw the chart there. But now that I'm home and I have the threads, I can't find my chart. It happens to all of us. I'm sure it does. And while at the stitch group, I picked up a Plum Street. And this is an older one. I think it's from 2015. And it's called Dear Friends. Isn't that cute? So Plum Street sampler, Dear Friends. I love the pumpkins and the crows and the leaves. So that's going to be a great fall stitch. I don't think I'll kit this up right away, but I did see a finished design of it in the shop. And this is up at the Crafty Grimalkin. And I thought, ah, that's lovely. So I have to get that and get it done. I also picked up some fabric while I was up there. I wonder if that was the fabric I picked out. I don't know what that fabric's for. While I was at the shop, I found a fantastic color. It's an Atomic Ranch fabric called Christmas Night. It's a 28 count Lugana. It feels so nice. But I loved how bold this blue was, because the first thing I thought of when I saw this was my Cross Point Design Season of Love. I think that's going to be incredible on this blue. It's really going to make the trees and the snow and the stars pop. So I want to get this one started. Soft, tiny snowflakes drift slowly down. Starlight sparkles on crystalline ground. Hosts of angels sing praises above. Lo, it's Christmas, the season of love. Very poetic. So that's a blue stitch. And I think I showed you guys this blue stitch that I had to do. Now this is a Stony Creek. All is bright. So this is also waiting with this great blue. Now this is a Picture This Plus Cashel called Dwarf, 28 count. And I thought it would be perfect for this. Thank goodness I have a B5200 cone. I'm just looking at it right now because it's going to be a lot of white. So I have to figure out which one to start first so I don't get tired of all that white stitching. I also picked up a beautiful Fiber on a Whim Cafe au lait, and this is a 16 count Lugana. And I just loved the color of this. It's not quite coffee. Well, it's coffee with very extra cream. So I think that's a beautiful color. 16 count Ada. I have so many projects. I'm sure I'm going to find something for it. That goes there. Oh, and I also wanted to show you. A friend of mine had sent me a picture. And I said, oh, I have to show you guys. Because I had shown you the pattern already. And this pattern was a heart and hand called Seasonal Etchings. And I thought this was a great pattern. It's so versatile. You can do it like this sampler, nature sampler I call it, or you can do separate ones as little pillows. But my friend Spools went above and beyond. She took this motif, did it on a tiny count fabric, as well as a larger count fabric. I'm going to show a picture here. And I love how her finishes came out. So I'm really inspired to do this the same somehow, either to do little pillows or to do a larger pillow that will accent one of these designs. So these two would be great to do both as little pillows and one of them as a larger pillow. I see that on my couch because that would be a great color. But I do love the fishies. They'd be good in my kitchen. So there's so many things to do with this one. Seasonal Etchings by Heart and Hand. And I wanted to say it's an older one, but it's not. This is 2022. So it should be fairly easy to find still. I would check probably 123stitch.com to look for this one. Great motifs. I also finished, I think I had told you, I have done in my lifetime 2 different diamond dots, big ones. So I did a very large one that sat in the corner of this craft room for probably 4 years, maybe 3 years. Finally got it framed. I want to say this is a 16 by 16. It might be, I'm talking about the frame. I think the actual diamond dot is 14 by 14. And I got the frame at Goodwill for $4, and it was pretty battered. You can see if I twist it, you can see some spacers I put in because it was not a frame that was cooperating. Now, this diamond dot has this white canvas border that went all the way around. I didn't feel like getting out a mat cutter and cutting a mat for this. So I just painted it with an acrylic paint. You can see it's a little wrinkly. But when it's on the wall, it's not going to distract from it. And I really am pleased with finally framing this. My other small chickadee, which is a partial diamond dot. So there's a printed design and just areas that you put diamond dots on. This is a full coverage. I'm not doing these again. I tend to get obsessive with them until the point where I get like a crick in my neck. Nah, I like the small ornament ones. So this is a one and done. I've experienced it and I won't do it again. I'm glad it's done. I'm glad it's framed. I don't have the name of it. I don't know where I got it, but a finish. Last week, I also shared with you, this was an issue of the World of Cross Stitching from June of 2016, issue number 242. When I was flipping through this, I found the stitch that I had done for my father as a pillow. And I had forgotten about it because he never got to see it. He actually passed away, and then I had to go collect it from the finishers. Because I don't sew. I hand sew, but I did not want to do a pillow and have it come out incorrectly. So I took it to a seamstress who was able to make it into a pillow for me. I brought it home. I couldn't look at it. I put it in a closet. I came across this pattern when I was reviewing the bucket with you guys last week. Went downstairs and got it out of the closet. So I will keep it out and I will use it. I did this on, I want to say a 16 count Aida. It is done with a black fabric, which I'm not too pleased with. I had said earth tones, but black is pretty awkward to have in a house when you have pets. So even though this has been in the closet, somehow it still has my cat hair on it and my dog hair. She did a nice little tuck back so I can remove it. I think this is probably going to be on the bed where the dog is not, unless there's a thunderstorm, to protect it a little bit better, but it'll look nice. And finally, I'm ready to look at it and I'm ready to get some joy from it. So this was called, what was the name of that chart? I should say it properly. Birds of a Feather, and it is a design by Doreen Jones. The World of Cross Stitching, issue 242, or June 2016 magazine. I think it's really cute. He would have loved it. I know I love it. And I love all their flat top hairdos here. It's such a great exaggeration. So I'm glad I came across that, because I did have the strength to pull it out. Now I've got to actually pluck some hairs from it. I've got all kinds of lint brushes downstairs, and make sure that I keep it in good condition. So I really don't want anything to happen to that. So that magazine, there were some cards in there that I wanted to stitch, and then there was another project. I know I saw 3 tabs. It might have just been, one was one was an alphabet that I might use. Cards and the feathers. But it was this issue with those cards in it. Those look like very useful, quick stitches to make cards out of. I will show you guys how I'm going to finish my cards, because I did finish all those Christmas motifs. I did bring it up without counting or taking it apart, so let's take a peek at what I've actually got done. I want to say there's 13, but there might be 12 of them. I will take my little snap downstairs. I have a smaller strawberry project with beads that I want to do. So these motifs came out of a magazine. Now I have a whole bunch of floss to put away, which is kind of exciting because I've got too many whips going on. Christmas 2023, Christmas cross stitch favorites. So it was this issue that I got these motifs out of. They had pages upon pages. So So this was one collection where I took the little house that says Merry Christmas. And I think you were supposed to make tags out of a lot of these, but I decided cards would be my thing. So Christmas cross-stitch favorites, Christmas 2023. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, I got a baker's dozen. So I did use some scrap Aida, and on a few I stitched 2. Because I think with this motif, I am going to use my die cut machine to cut a little window card. And I think the goal is, I want to have a friend over because she wanted to see how this is done. I might do some filming when I do the actual card and piecemeal the sections of video in so you can see what I do. So these are going to be a circular card hole opening in the front of the card, and I do see some washi tape going down the side. This design I did, I wasn't happy, took too long. I'm not going to do a couple of cards. I have one and done for this one. Now this little guy, cute, whimsical, very easy to stitch. So I took a strip and whipped out a whole bunch of them. Not sure if I'm going to do an oval card opening. I might do something like mounting it on top of the front of the card with shredded edges. And then I did 3 houses. So I'm excited to actually have 13. I shouldn't call them cards yet because I have to get them done. But this is 13 Christmas cards for this coming year. And while I was doing them, I was thinking, maybe I should do some St. Patty's, maybe some Valentines. So I am keeping my eyes open for some quick motifs of simple Valentines, because those are really cute when they're done, hand stitched, little hearts, very easy to do. So that is a finish. Don't call it a finish. Partial finish. I got some very strange fun mail. I'm taking apart a lot of frames, whether frames that I find at the dump, and you've heard me take hammers to them, and sometimes they have these little nails in them that I can't quite grab and pull out, and that's what this is for. I don't even know what these are called. I think my husband has a pair downstairs. And I went downstairs and I said, if I took this from the garage, would you miss it? And he kind of grumbled and he said, well, yeah, I would miss it. I said, so maybe I should buy a cheap one for the craft room? He said, yeah, maybe you should buy a cheap one. So he knew what it was. It's called nail puller, pliers, nail remover tool, cutting pliers, carpenter tools, staple puller, nail puller tool. Just look up nail pliers if you're interested in getting this device. I could also pull teeth. Maybe I should hang my shingle out for that. But it wasn't expensive, and I do need a pair up here. I was using some tiny jewelry. Where is those? I don't even know where I put them. But I've got some tiny jewelry maker tools that just weren't cutting it. So these are substantial. Hold still. Also at a Goodwill, I had a great find. I love this. If this doesn't say Northwoods, I don't know what does. And it lights up. I thought it was really cute. When I picked this thing up for $4, it was so dirty. I had to clean it with wet Q-tips because all these little spots in here. Then I had to clean it with a dry towel. And then I came up here with a paintbrush to get in and around. There were cobwebs, dust bunnies. The Spanish moss had to be cleaned without losing all of it. There's little clumps glued. Some of the branches were chipped because it's a very cheap plied, I don't know what you would call it, plywood. So I actually just clipped off the ends that were naked and just added some brown paint to the tips. You can't even tell where I did that. But it came out fine for $4. I am getting to the point where when I find something, I don't want another project. I want it to be ready. But if I'm going to be buying something at a discounted price, I got to be ready to do something. So this is probably going to be a year-round piece. I just haven't found a home for it. But I just love it for $4. It brings me happiness. Maybe I should have a cleaner wall behind me with and the Northwoods Stitch here. No, I'm not one of those. Sorry. If I was one of those, I'd probably have my hair done, but I just throw it up. There was something else I wanted to show you guys. I feel like I don't see you enough, and I see you once a week. Ah, I guess the only thing left are the confessions that I have. And I say confessions because I keep finding things that I want to stitch. And I'm going to, but I have to get these little projects done. I don't know what video number it was, but I showed these to you. I found these on clearance at a Walmart. Cute little easels. And I had a girlfriend who sent me a very old chart collection. Linda sent me, do I have it handy? I do. Yeah. She sent me Short and Sweet Leisure Art, 50 or more miniature sayings. And this is from 1993. I have one even older than that. In here, I found that. I absolutely love it. I did this on a scrap piece of blue Aida. Now on the other side, I kind of want a pineapple. So I started digging around for patterns. This book's even older. This was in my collection. It's called the Cricket Collection. Folk Art Sampling from 1984. Woo! Now these motifs, yeah, they're old. And some of the ways they display them are outdated. But you've got cute little Merry Christmas fonts, which will make sweet pillows. You've got a tree here, great little pillow. There's a classic bunny. I'm going to do these. Not all of them. So they have the bunny as a white bunny and a brown bunny. They have a goose, but they had a pineapple. So I am stitching this little guy, which is the perfect size for this tiny little easel. And he's going to go on the opposite side. And this shouldn't take me long at all. But I think the colors are going to be great. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I might just put it in my guest room. But it's really sweet. And it was a quick, feel-good thing to do. So stay tuned. I've probably got another 8 of these, 6 of these. I'll think of some other things to do with them. I'm thinking holidays that I can just flip it over on the table so I can have a 2-in-1 display. So that is a little guilty pleasure. I don't want to lose my phone in all this pile. Phone's acting up. There we go. Also in my pile, I found, now this is from the Cross Stitcher, February 1995. So this is another old issue. But I do kind of like the bunny. Look at this. Oh my word. I have to do it. Yeah, it's on black. So I will probably kit this up in the next 3 months, and I'll tackle this in the summer, which is also a great time to stitch cold winter ideas or motifs in the summer when you're hot, and this is when you watch the blizzard movies. To cool off, you stitch something that reminds you of cold. So I love the colors in that, and it's got foxes and birds and trees, and yeah. I have chosen a 16 count Aida, and I think it's gonna fit. If you wanted to hunt for these, I don't know if you can get these issues on eBay anymore. February 95, the Cross Stitcher. But I have to tell you something. There are more. They did a spring sampler. Look at that. And I'm pretty sure they did a fall. And if they did spring and winter, you know there's going to be a fall and summer. I don't know what they look like. I do like the spring one. It's got a moose at the top. But it's got something that looked like... What are those? Woolly... Are those woolly yaks or something? Headbutting each other? So the winter, I think, is more for me. But I do like that top part of the spring. So I have to do it. I think I'll do it too, as they did this finish, type of bell pull finish, or I don't know what you would call this. Wall hanging. It's just a simple dowel with a braided rope top and a tasseled bottom. But you can also do a V-shaped base of Aida. So there's a couple of ways you can finish this off. I'll stitch it first, and then I'll think about how I'll finish it off. But I'll definitely be showing that. I see this as a really simple stitch. It does look like it has quite a few colors in it. And I love that it's a black and white photo. Project on page 19. Okay. Key code on page 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So probably 14 colors. It's not going to be bad. If you do it on a 16 count like I'm doing, it'll be about 6 inches wide and approximately 14 inches long. Can do, can do, can do, can do, can do, can do. So I have to decide what's going to be next. Also downstairs is Disturbed Women. I have everything. I have the floss. I have the fabric. I'm going to prep the fabric, start stitching that next week. That's assuming everything goes well with Puppy. And another few that I've pulled out that are going to have to be soon stitches. Heartstring Samplery. This is I've Got My Love to Keep Me Warm. I wanted this chart for so long, and my dad bought me this for Christmas one year. So I really need to get it done. I'm not too crazy about the fabric color, so I have only concentrated on pulling the flosses, and I did get what they called for, which were Weeks Dye Works Coal and Brick. So I got those. Now I have to commit to a fabric. So I think there was another project up here I wanted to tear apart the room for a fabric. If I can find that. Is it under here? Oh, it's somewhere. This one. When I have my fabric day, I'll be pairing these up. So this is Designs by Lisa, Mooseby Love. I really have to do this one. The photo doesn't do it justice. It washes it out completely. You can't even see there's a moon on it. barely, but that's so cute. I don't have to put that checkered border around it. I don't think it needs that. But that's really cute. And even the moose are a little too dark for me. So I've got to pull some fabric, do a floss toss, and see what looks right. Sometimes you just gotta pair it up that way and switch a few things out. Make a couple of notes in pencil if I'm gonna do substitutions. Ultimately, somebody's gonna ask you, what color did you use? And you go, so I better write it down this time. But that's such a cute stitch. Okay, so this pile is going to be Fabric Day. And I think this is a Fabric Day too. Oh, I found dinky dies, you guys. I showed this to you in the last video and I said, I think I'll substitute dinky dies for DMC. I found out Crafty Grimalkin, she carries dinky dies. I'm excited because this one calls for 6 dinky dies. Sorry for the noise, but I have to open it. So this is Grasshopper Pie by Glendon Place. I think this is really cool. And it's very spring. It's got the flowers, it's got the buds and blooms, the great green colors. It's like the transition from winter to spring. Even though it's grasshopper pie, it's a celebration of desserts. This is a 2012. So next time I'm up in Bangor, I'm going to grab some dinky dies, do a floss toss. That's going to be an exciting stitch. Does not look easy though. Oh, and a lot of you commented on my owl pattern that I showed you, which is still downstairs. And yes, of course, the first thing he said was, what about the wolves? So I am going to do that. I just don't know when, because I think I need to make some progress on the wolves before I kit that up without causing a big fuss in the house. Because I also got that lighthouse for Christmas, which is in a bucket. And I have to kit that up too. So maybe I can ask for an extra set of arms for Christmas. Might have to. I gotta go put some stuff away, you guys. I feel like there's something at my ankles I forgot to share with you. Drawn thread, that was it. This has got to go downstairs. I have everything now. I have the fabric. I am going to wash the fabric, study this chart, because I'm afraid I don't want, you can see it, that intricate border, which almost looks like a honeycomb. So I am going to do that. I want to make sure that the fabric I chose is going to be matchable. I just want the color that I use, Ecru DMC Cotton 8, to be vibrant on that fabric. But I do think that has to go for fabric soak. So there's 2 things. I always soak my fabric first on a big sheet, big cookie sheet, which I don't think I've cooked anything on, but I just use it for my fabric. So I put it in a cold water soak just so the fibers can relax a bit and just kind of loosen up. It helps get those folds and wrinkles out of my fabric. Then I will dry it, line dry, just until it's damp, and then steam iron it, because I can't stand creases in my fabric when I stitch. So this is going downstairs for the fabric wash with Disturbed Women. I'll throw that over there. Then there was one other thing. Can't remember if I showed this to you or not. I'm waiting on one other color. Is it one? I think it's one other color that I need. It's a classic Colorworks color. I'm looking for hickory sticks. And I think I only need one. So I can get that next month. I know I can. But this is Stone Street Stitchworks. This was an Etsy purchase. I don't remember when I purchased this. It was a while ago. It's called Book House. But I love this thing. I've been enjoying reading every night for probably the past 8 months. Even if it's 3 or 4 pages. It does something, it takes me into another world. It disconnects my train of thought that might be bothering me. My lists of things to do that I'm thinking about all day, every day. So picking up a book really is a great escape for me. It is a house, and I don't stitch houses because I don't need houses for my house, because I'm in a house. I don't need more houses. So I have been known to stitch a house or two, but the saying goes well with the house design. It has one room that's lit up. It's just a very sweet stitch. I'm really excited to stitch this. So check them out on Etsy, Stone Street Stitchworks. And this should be just a relaxing stitch, not challenging, but fun with the colors. You can change up the colors if you're not partial to some of these reds and oranges. Or even change up the house color if you want to do that. Do it on a darker fabric and just reverse if your fabric's darker. Do lighter colors and have some fun with it. So I'm just waiting on one more color. And to be honest, I should probably check my stash, but I don't recall ever getting hickory sticks. And I've got 2 different Adas pulled out for this. Why do I have 2? I think I was going to stitch 2. I might need 2 hickory sticks. I think that's what the holdup was. I didn't write myself a note, which I need to, and just stick it in the bag, but that's what's coming to me, as I was going to stitch 2. One to keep and one to gift. That's it. I'm going to go nurse my puppy. I know she wants my lap again, and it's time for a cup of tea. Until next week, I'm going to show you the wolves. I've done the corner, guys. Thank you so much for all your comments and your reminders about the wolf. I find it really, I don't know, you're motivating me, and I love it. If you just poke me every once in a while, how are the wolves coming? Like the wolves. It keeps me focused on Wolf Wednesday, Wolf Wednesday, Wolf Wednesday. You guys are awesome. I am going to start Mill Hill Mondays soon, thanks to Sophia. Shout out to her. She's doing Mill Hill Mondays. Thomas has a tail feather, so Turkey Tuesdays. I'm going to finish his tail feathers hopefully this coming week. Flea Market Fridays, not going so well. Not going to talk about it. I'm on the big block. What are you guys doing to get past the big block? I know some of you are stitching it or have stitched it. It's not as fun as I thought it would be. So I have a couple of free days, my cheat days. It's not the only day I have ice cream though. So I might just add another one of these projects to it. We'll see. Stay tuned. Until then, happy crafting, keep stitching, and be safe.